The following program does not have a normal intro because I was really too busy smoothing other things over to get it done. So, Ori? Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the following program. I'm your host, Joe Neerman, aka Lawgic. Hope that your day's been going really well. Hope it's been going swimmingly well. My morning started off a little earlier for my taste because I don't really love the whole wake up at 7 in the morning to try to get to court thing. But as you all know, I was busy trying to secure myself my New York City press pass. Check out that bad boy right there. Oh, yeah, that's my Donald Trump mug shot. There you go. Member of the media. And I can't tell you, this sucker came in handy right away. First and foremost, when you go down to the New York City press office. So if you're wondering what it's like when you join the establishment elite, become one of the favored class, one of the loved ones, one of the happy-go-lucky people who are in charge of the world. So first and foremost, in order to get this prestigious award, and I am considering it an award because Lord knows it's pretty stupid that such a thing even exists, to establish this so that in the eyes of the world, I am now hereby ordained as a member of the press. I had to fill out this very lengthy form and then show them 6 videos, which I had to establish links to for it to be reviewed, which took them like a month to do. And I was like, oh my God, this is really a freaking nuisance. It's really a bloody nuisance. And then after you're done with that, you sit back and you wait. You play the waiting game. But the waiting game sucks. When you end the waiting game, then you contact them and you're like, dude, you said it'd be 30 days and it's been 2 months. What's the deal? And then they say to you, oh, we sent out your approval. It probably went to spam. So you just got to come down and pick it up. And then you say, oh, okay, fine. You go down to 1 Center Street, room 370. I know I'm giving away top secret information here. Room 370 in 1 Center Street. You have to come in through the visitor's entrance. Apparently, finding the visitor's entrance is a little bit more of a tricky thing than you might think, because you see something that says 1 Center Street, but that's 1 Center Street North. And then they say, no, you have to go to the next entrance. And you go to the next entrance, and they say, that's 1 Center Street South, but this is not for you. This is for employees only. You have to go around the other side of the building. So then you walk around the other side of the building, and then they say, no. You need the visitor's entrance. That's back where you came from. Well, anyway, after all this stuff gets sorted out, then you go through your security measures, which they have to like make sure that you're not there to like, I don't know, blow up the press office or whatever it is. And then finally, there's a woman who's sitting there and she's waiting for you, and she's got your whole form filled out there. Offers you a nice little drink of water. When you ask her, when do I have to? Because you see, it's got an expiry date, which I see says like, hey, that's 120, that's 115.25. I'm doing the math here, and I'm like, that's less than a year. What's happening here? When do I need to reapply? Renew this? Do I need to renew this every year? She's like, yeah. So what's involved in the renewal process? It's like, you start all over again. I'm like, every year? Are you kidding me? I thought it was insane that I have to take CLEs every 2 years to maintain my law license. You're telling me I got to go through this hassle of uploading 6 videos for some idiot to sit there reviewing and making sure, ooh, this person's really important member of the media every friggin' year? Every year? I don't know. So this is my year as a member of the media. And I don't know. Maybe if I'm wondering if this little number here is like easily transferable into a 6 or something. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. Who knows what's going to happen? I can't tell you the future. I don't know. But what I do know is that after I became a member of the media, so then I had a little bit, I was like, oh, now I can like take the mick out of this. It's fun that like now I'm a member of the media. I'm like licensed to lie. I said that to the woman from the press office. She was not impressed. She's like, okay, we're done here. Go. I was okay. Okay. I guess you could say I was licensed to lie from the moment I got sworn in to practice law. I mean, I think some people would probably make that claim. But we're technically not supposed to lie, as opposed to in the media where it's actually a job requirement we're technically really not supposed to be doing that as members of the court, but I know none of you will believe that. I know none of you will believe that. Well, anyway, bottom line is this. So now that I'm a member of the world's oldest profession, which that's what it is if you think about it. That's what being a member of the press is basically running around tattling on others. So now that I became a member of the world's oldest profession, I was like, let me send out a tweet and alert the world that here I am, part of this world. So I said, oh, okay, I'm heading over to the Trump trial with my brand spanking new press pass, little picture of little selfie of myself with the press pass there. I'm now officially a member of, I'm licensed to spread fake news. And then I finished that out with, I don't know if I can say this on YouTube. I finished it out with, get back, stop the spread. Not that that's medical information, because I don't give any medical information here. There's really no medical information here at all, because I don't know anything about medicine. I'm not even sure if medicine's a real thing or if it's a figment of my imagination. Well, anyway, I'm certainly not prescribing medicine, giving you any sort of medical advice, and I don't even know if medicine is a real field or what it is, but it's definitely not something I understand because I'm way too stupid to understand the medicine. So I'm definitely not going to be, I'm the last person you should come to for medical advice. But anyway, that is what I wrote out there. And I figured everyone would recognize that when you contextualize and put in, I'm a member of the fake news, and then follow it up with a couple of sentences, that first sentence has some sort of relationship to the next two sentences. But apparently that, most people got it. Most people got it. But there was one or two who were just like, whoosh, right over their head. And right away, somebody I never heard of before, some actor who apparently is pretty based, quote tweeted me as saying, here is your classic never Trumper. And I was just like, what? Literally confused. I was like, what? What's happening here? What's happening here? It was a very aggressive, throwing me to the wolves that I must be some never Trumper who believes, apparently based on the last two sentences of my tweet, that I'm someone who's a never Trumper. So that inspired me to basically spend the rest of the day trolling, which I did one tweet trolling. You can find it, where I basically I'm basically doubting myself as ace fake news reporter Joe Neerman, aka Good Lawgic, here with more fake news for you. I'm in downtown Manhattan. I was having fun. I was amusing myself. Woo! I am a never Nicky. I'm very much a never Nicky. John Gordon says, sorry, babe, the press pass stays on during sexy time. That's great. It is a complete and total. No, it's not a complete and total waste of government resources, because the government needs to control who has the power to talk to people. Sounds like a First Amendment violation. Definitely sounds like that. Sounds a lot like that to me. Probably not a winning cause of action, though. If you bring it, probably not. But to me, if you ask me, if I'm sitting on the Supreme Court, which is not going to happen anytime this year, but if I'm sitting on the Supreme Court, I'll tell you right now, that's First Amendment violation right there. Bring the case. So, yeah, that's trying to control. If you talk about freedom of press, and all of a sudden now we're going to officially sanction you as a member of the press, and then tell you that you have different regulations, that you have the right to do things that other people can't. That sounds totally like a violation of freedom of press to me. But apparently, I'm in the minority on that particular issue. Joe, with Meatball Ron out, what happens if someone gives the Teflon Don a dirt nap before November? Are they going to try to unbind all delegates at the convention and give them to Haley? I don't know. Sort of would have to look into the RNC rules to see what happens if the party who's winning passes on, right? I mean, that's sort of what you would need to look at. I'm sure there are regulations. Would it go to the delegate who came in second? That's horrifying. That's horrifying. If they think that that's going to lead to a win for the GOP, see, if you're saying you're worrying about that because you think the right themselves are going to do them in, someone Nikki adjacent is going to try and do them in, I'll tell you right now, I don't think that they're that crazy that they think that she has that much of a chance of winning in that type of circumstance. You have to be out of your mind to think that anyone thinks she's going to win. If suddenly terrible calamity were to strike Donald Trump after he sweeps through the primaries. So I think they'd have to be out of their minds to think that. But I do think that 2024 is going to be a crazy year. And things that neither you nor I could possibly predict are likely to unfold this year. See, I didn't say that going into 2023. I didn't say that going into 2022. But I am saying about 2024. I think this is going to be a crazy year. I do. And I see, that's Trump should totally bring me on to be press secretary. Oh, my God. Oh, I would have a field day with these idiots. You, John, what's your issue today? What's your issue? Jim Acosta, what? You again? Oh, my God. That'd be so great. That'd be so great. You notice how he's not around for the Biden years. No, he only pops in there for the Trump years. I don't think the right will do him in. I think the deep state will, in order to get Haley instead of Trump. They don't care who wins. I think that would lead to Biden winning. But who knows? At least he's got Secret Service protecting him. Hopefully they are as competent as I have been led by the TV series 24 to believe they are. So I've seen 24. They seem really competent. Sure, Aaron's probably like protecting him. Aaron Pierce is probably protecting him. Things he'll be fine. Stop worrying so much. These are things that I know. Love your content. Oh, I gotta. You're not gonna hear the. You're not gonna hear the boom. You're not gonna hear the boom unless I do this first. Love your content. Still love Jewish women, but tip ain't nipped. Neither is Jeff Bezos, so don't feel bad. A lot of people have unnipped tips, and yeah, you can. Yeah, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, there's a few options, but I don't think you're going to like any of them. I don't think you're going to like any of them. There's a few options you got. I really don't think you're going to like any of them, brother. But, yeah. Bob Gable says, what happens to corrupt judges and prosecutors? Seems like nothing is done. That sounds about right. So, I don't know what to tell you, Bob. I need a little more context. And as much as I love Leonard Nimoy, playing one of the greatest characters ever to grace the small screen, I can't give you much more insight than that based on the limited amount of question that you throw at me in this question. What happens to corrupt judges and prosecutors? It's rare to see anything happen to them. They have to be so egregious. The only time we ever see them ever face any consequence at all is literally if they're bribed. But short of that, they could be as incompetent or as tilted and slanted as they want to be. The last time we saw any repercussions for judges was what? Abscam in the 1980s, 1990s? Nothing happens to them. Nothing happens at all. But you might think nothing would happen to Alec Baldwin, and that's not true. Apparently, he's facing indictment. Grand jury indicted Alec Baldwin on Friday on an involuntary manslaughter charge in a 2021 fatal shooting during a rehearsal movie set. You might ask yourself, don't I feel like deja vu, like this happened once before? You might be thinking that. It's probably what you're thinking. You should be thinking that because you probably have heard this story before. But a grand jury indicted Alec Baldwin Friday an involuntary manslaughter charge, 2021 fatal shooter during a rehearsal on a movie set in New Mexico, reviving a dormant case against the actor. Special prosecutors brought the case before a grand jury in Santa Fe this week, months after reviewing a new analysis of the gun that was used. They declined to answer questions after spending a day and a half presenting their case to the grand jury. Defense attorneys for Baldwin indicate they'll fight the charge. Yeah, damn Skippy, they're going to fight the charge. Of course they're going to fight the charge. We're going to be like, no, we're pleading guilty. Of course they're going to fight the charge. That's not any sort of reporting AP. We look forward to our day in court, said Luke Nikas and Alex Spiro, defense attorneys for Baldwin, in an email. Meanwhile, Alec Baldwin was off somewhere shooting his mouth off about how he's the most innocent man in the world because he only pulled the trigger 3 times. I only pulled the trigger. Then they fired without it being my fault. While the proceeding is shrouded in secrecy, 2 of the witnesses seen at the courthouse include crew members, one who was present when the fatal shot was fired, another who walked off the set the day before due to safety concerns. Baldwin, the lead actor and co-producer in Rust, was pointing a gun at cinematographer Helena Hutchins during a rehearsal on a movie set outside Santa Fe when he killed her. Not the gun went off. No, when he killed her. Now, it might not be murder, but there's no disputing he killed her. Killing her and wounding director Joel Souza. Baldwin said he pulled back the hammer, but not the trigger, and the gun fired. Yeah, well, that don't make no sense. Anyhow, so you might be saying, Joe, are you going to cover this story? And I tell you, probably a little bit. If it actually goes to trial and that's streamed, oh, hell yeah. Definitely. Is this something that I'm going to be like really wrapping my head around on a day-by-day basis? You probably could find other channels which will be far more consumed with that. But I felt like I should cover it just so those of you who are reliant upon me to get your general news of the day at least have that information, that he's back on the griddle. Former convict says, Joe, I was told tunnels you having us dig are connected to the temple of the one true prophet, Matthew C. Harris, unbreaded, where the original book of death sentences, aka the unbreaded. Please say it's true. Well, I can't tell you that that's true, but what I can tell you is true is that my merch store is very, 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 very close to being completed. And even though I frequently point out that the following is not at all a cult type of cult, and I'm definitely not the leader of the following. I'm a follower just like you. And one of the things I mentioned is that there's no spaceships, no Kool-Aid, no tracksuits, no nothing. Apparently, the creators of my merch store thought that it might be a good idea to have a limited edition tracksuits, not for that to be a mandatory part of the following, because there's no tracksuits. Everyone knows there's no tracksuits at all. But just in case, some people are going running. And they're like, what are you going to go running in? What are you going to go running in sweatpants? What are you living in 1982? No, you wear a tracksuit. So some people might go running. And members of the following might want to go running together. And display that they're part of the following, which is not at all a cult type of cult. So there may be, but that would probably be limited in offering like just a handful of them. Just, it's not gonna be like available for anyone to it's probably gonna go to locals first, is where I would share a link for something like that, which is a good Lawgic. .locals.com, but it's definitely not part of the following. It's like, it's really not. It's not because there's no tracksuits. Everyone knows there's no tracksuits. There's 0 tracksuits. But yeah, just thought I would share that out. And there's definitely, but the merch is going to include t-shirts and other limited accessories, which I will publicize when this store goes up, which it's not live yet. But it's in the works, and I will keep you apprised. I'm hoping this week it should go live. So there you go. I'll go back to dig for my strike for not my camo tracksuit yet, but I'm back for the original book of the unbreaded reparations for stickers. Okay, my tracksuit just got delivered by. I don't think it did. Because apparently the tracksuits are going to be numbered according to follower number. So, not that it's part of the following, because there's no tracksuits. Everyone knows that's one of the things everyone knows is that there's no tracksuits. But just to keep things organized and individualized. So there you go. Welcome to the Upside Down Earthers tunnel digging tracksuit wearing. It's not at all a cult. Type of cult. All right, let's get into the good stuff here. You all want to watch a hearing. We all want to watch Fani facing the fire. You know, because and you know why you want it's justice. Justice is demanding. It's because we didn't start the fire. So yeah. Let's do this. I'm warning you beforehand, before I even press start, okay? I'm warning you. First and foremost, I'm going to need you to tell me whether the audio levels are good, because the audio on this is so brutal. It's going to hurt your ears. I'm turning down the volume a little bit. It's going to hurt your ears. It's terrible, terrible audio. I don't want to hear you fetching and you whining. If you got problems with the audio, just move to the back of the room. You don't need to be up front, okay? If it's too loud or whatever, move to the back. I don't want to hear you whining, okay? So that's not the nature of our relationship. Like, oh, Joe, it's all your fault about the audio. No, the audio here sucks. I'm telling you up front, it's terrible. You're not going to like it, but it's what we got. Oh my God.
Dr. Judge Henry R. Thompson is presiding.
Thank you. Be seated.
Henry R. Thompson presiding in-house. The tracksuit, which is not an official tracksuit because there are no tracksuits that are part of the following. It's a very unofficial, numbered simply for individually numbered simply for organizational purposes, but nothing to do with the following sort of thing. That's not available yet, but when it comes available, I'm going to first drop it. I'm going to make availability first in locals, and if it sells out there first, it sells out there first. If it doesn't, then I'll make it available to the public. We'll see, but it's going to be limited. I'm not like selling. I'm not going to be trying to sell 1,000 of them. That's not going to happen. Call members, our sacred scripture is Constitution. Amen. Joe, you're great in my opinion, but Joe, IDF with Mel Brooks, how can you compete? Dude, these are my kind. These are my kin. I'm not trying to compete with them. I take pride in their accomplishments. I take pride.
Ms. Hastings?
Ms. Hastings. Kimmy Joe, remember the following.
Your Honor, I am actually here on the second set of motions, the motions for access to the file.
Motions for access to the file. Ooh, we get 2 for the price of 1. 2 motions for the price of 1. Very exciting. This is not simply about getting Fani to put her Fani in the deposition hot seat. No. This is for public access to the Wade versus Wade files, which head note, it means she testified. We get to see. You would think, right? You would think. You would think. Good chance. So anyway, Kimmy Joe, remember the following. Welcome to the following, Kimmy Joe. Woohoo! The following is what, well, we call you followers. And properly so, because this show is called The Following Program. So anyone who subs up to the show, to the channel, becomes a follower. You're not a follower of me. I'm not the leader of the following. I'm just a follower just like you. A lot of people make that mistake. They're like, oh, Joe's the leader of a cult. Oh, Joe's the leader of a cult. Oh, Joe's. So I'm not the leader. It's not a cult. It's not at all a cult type of cult whatsoever. There are no spaceships, no Kool-Aid, no mandatory tracksuits, no self-harm, no harming others, no squirrel mutilations, no goat sacrifices, no spraying blood around the room, mild farm work, no throwing virgins into volcanoes, no stabbing yourself in the leg or in the ear. So that's why it was actually voted by Forbes magazine as the least culty cult ever. So there you go. And official members of the media say that you really need to join the following. I'm gonna have more fun with this than anyone ever has a right to have with the press pass. It's gonna be like the Chappelle show. People are gonna be screaming, "They never should have given you press pass. They never should have," been stamping their feet in the couch. Their dirty feet. Oh my God, I'm having so much fun with it already. Having so much fun. I should really share the tweet that I sent. It was a great tweet, the follow-up tweet.
To unseal the file.
Where's Mr. Kimbrough?
Very good.
No.
Oh, why don't you take that table?
Your Honor, with your permission, I'm going to just sit up here.
That's fine. And Ms. Merchant?
Yeah, Ms. Merchant.
Good morning. And I'm sorry?
I'm here as well.
Right.
Second
To
motion.
the table as well. There's a chair for you. And Mr. Axum.
Yes, good morning, Judge.
Oh, I gotta get some of my tips over here in locals. Will Joe have a Keepa and merch store? I hadn't thought about that. Joe, the new prostitute. Love it. Love it. Good job, Johnny Reb there. Fan says, what amazed me on Baldwin case is that it happened while setting up camera angle. Why was any rebounds fake or real were in gun? Yeah, well, these are questions. These are questions that everyone wants answers to. And eventually, who knows, maybe we get those answers.
All right. Okay. Who wants to share in the takedown of this? Mr. Kimbrough?
Yes, Judge, will share.
Ms. Hastings? Ms. Merchant? Okay.
We will as well, Your Honor.
Okay.
Thank you.
How about you, Mr. Axum? You want to share in the takedown?
Absolutely.
I would love to take down Fanny.
Okay. This is Wade versus Wade. Civil action number 21-108166.
10866. Wade v. Wade. Oh, great. I get Roe v. Wade when I press that in. Okay. I want to make note of it.
Mr. Wade is represented by Mr. Scott Kimbrough. Mrs. Wade is represented by Andrea Hastings. And we're here today for basically an emergency motion filed by Mr. Axum by a non-party deponent for a protective order. But there was already a pending motion to unseal the record filed by Ms. Merchant. I thought we might as well take that up at the same time. Now, this is my criminal jury trial week. I'm trying to start jury selection on a criminal trial, so we don't have a lot of time. All right, Ms. Merchant, I'll hear from you on your motion to unseal.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Judge. Would you like me at the podium?
Wherever you like.
Thank you. I will be brief, Judge. Thank you. Judge, Rule 24 says that there's a very specific process that has to be followed for a order sealing a record. It wasn't followed in this case. It was assigned to a previous judge, Judge Angela Brown, who entered a consent order under Rule 21, granting the seal in this case. It's our understanding from emails from counsel that Mrs. Wade's lawyers do not object to that seal order being lifted. I believe Mr. Wade's lawyers do, but we believe that it should be reversed and should be lifted.
Surprise, surprise. Mr. Wade doesn't want the public to be able to see any of this file. Miss Wade's like, I want everyone to come peek in here. Now, strategically, I'll tell you, very smart move for her lawyers to tell her to take the position that public access is appropriate. Now, I don't know much about divorce law in general, whether these files are normally sealed or not. Certainly know nothing about Georgian divorce law. You can understand why, if there are children involved, that they almost certainly would lean toward sealing it for the protecting their interest. You can even understand in divorce court. My recollection, not that I've ever had to deal with this in any sort of civil litigation in New York, maybe I did like 20 years ago. At one point, I think I had to pull files. It's like a difficult thing in New York. They're very protective. They're very protective of everything related to divorce court, family law. They're very, very protective. Because it's just it's too easy for it to become fodder for gossip and neighbors to find out stuff, and it's just very easily humiliating for no real benefit to the public. So I think in New York they tend to lean toward starting an assumption that everything is sealed. That apparently is not the case here. The reason I was saying strategically it makes sense for Mrs. Wade to look to make this public is because her attorneys, if they have any sort of clue at all, and they seem to so far from what we've seen, properly would intuit that the public, particularly MAGA crowd, are going to be very interested in humiliating Nathan Wade and Fani for anything related to some sort of private goings-ons between Nathan and Fani during the period of when they still were technically married. And seeing as how you're basically going to have the public making a big stink about humiliating Fani and Nathan, this can only help when you come into court if there's all sorts of pressure for the court to recognize just how wrong the public thinks Nathan Wade is. That can only enhance your chances. If you're trying to haggle over, how much alimony you're getting, or I don't know if there are children, child support. I don't think there are kids, but it only can enhance your chances for a more favorable disposition from the court if, in fact, the public is basically screaming for this guy's head. That's more likely to happen the more the public can access these records. So I think it makes a lot of sense strategically for them to try and get him in. Unseal the tunnel. Amen. I mean the record. Oh yeah, that too. Yeah, Joe doesn't have a cold. Can't get me to nip my tip. I'm not looking at. Listen. Okay, let me make one thing crystal clear in case you were a little confused by anything I said earlier, Joe Dean. Okay, I have zero interest in your foreskin. Like literally zero. No, I don't care. You can keep it the rest of your life. I don't care. Like there are very few things on this planet which hold less interest for me than some dude's foreskin. That's just the way it is. So on the other hand, Gal Gadot, I could have cult around use that. Yeah, well, Gal Gadot can make converts out of a lot of folks. So Mega Mabez says, I'm flying in with the preemptive anti-horny jet to bonk the chat for oogling attorney mommy here. Oh, wait, this isn't Nick's chat. You think so? You think she's worth She would generate like that kind of reaction from Nick's crowd. I don't see it. She looks to me like that Charlene from Designing Women type of look. I'm like, I don't know. It's just not. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
Because it was held without a hearing. It was held, as far as I understand, without a motion, and I can't guarantee that because I don't have access to those earlier records in the case because they are sealed. But it appears it was held. It was filed without an actual court hearing where the public was allowed to be present, and so that's in violation of Rule 21.
So what she's saying is when they were making the whole determination saying, let's seal these records, they didn't follow proper procedure, and their failure to follow proper procedure should invalidate the order, which led to it being sealed.
There's very specific and stringent processes that the court must follow before a record is withheld from the public, and they were not followed in this case, Judge. The first is the motion, the second is a hearing, the third is that whoever wants it sealed has to identify specific parts of the court's file that need to be sealed. Also has to delineate the nature and the duration of the seal. None of that was done in this case. And the fourth, which is the most important part of it, is the analysis that the court has to do. And what the law says in the seminal case is Atlanta Journal versus Long, which we cited in our motion, that an order limiting access shall not be granted except upon a finding of harm otherwise resulting to the privacy of the person in interest, and that harm clearly outweighs the public interest. In this case, Judge, there's been no allegations of harm that clearly outweigh the public interest. And so the first thing to consider is whether or not that order needs to be reversed. And it's our position that it does because it doesn't follow the law. Second, getting to whether or not an order should actually be entered now, sealing this, we do not believe that an order should be sealed.
Has anyone filed one?
No one has filed one. So if you reverse the order at that point, if someone files it, then we can litigate that. But just focusing on the reversal of the prior order, Judge, I think the law is clear that it should be reversed because none of those findings were made and the public didn't have an opportunity to be heard in that instance. And so that's in violation of the law. And there's a couple different cases, I won't belabor the point, but all of the cases on this issue hold if there wasn't.
What happened?
Gotta be reversed. And so we think that order should be vacated. I've prepared a proposed order unsealing that if the court is so inclined. And then if there is some type of a motion filed or an oral motion today to try and seal those records, if you are inclined to reverse, I'd like a chance to at least be heard on that as well. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Ms. Hastings, what's your position?
Your position, Your Honor. My position is that we did consent to the sealing at the beginning of the case. There was a motion filed by the plaintiff on November 18th, 2021, approximately 16 days after we filed this. We consented at the time. We have different information now. We also understand that there was no hearing conducted, so we have no objection.
Mr. Kimbrough.
Thank you, Judge. These parties did consent to this previous consent order sealing the record back in February of 2022. Judge, the divorce was filed November 2nd of 2021. Answer was filed on November 30th of 2021, and this consent order sealing the record was filed on February 10th of 2022. Because it's clear that the party's intent was at that time, and that was to protect their privacy. As such, a consent order was drafted between the attorneys who were involved at that time, of Ms. Hastings, and her team were involved at that time. I was not. I did not get involved in this case until toward the end of last year. But that consent order was drafted and presented to the court, and it was signed and filed. And the judge just.
So his argument is essentially, look, we made the application, the other side consented, we signed an agreement. That should be binding. All of a sudden now you got this new mix of the public interests. This is already something that was agreed to by all parties.
This court has a burden to determine, what is in the best interest of these parties and what's in the best interest of this case.
In general, in family law, they tend to the best interests first and foremost is best interest of the child when there are children involved. But yeah, best interest and what's equitable, what's fair and beneficial to all parties, or seems most overall serves the greater good, is usually what dictates in family court, including divorce law.
The law is pretty clear as far as this issue is concerned. Under the Atlanta Journal versus Long, 258 Georgia 410, it sets forth the purpose of Rule 21, which is the reason why we're here, dealing with access or limited access to court files. The purpose is, one, to protect the public right to access, which is a long-standing and traditional right, but also, Judge, that case holds that it is also to protect another traditional right, and that is the right of superior courts in exceptional cases to shield these records from public view. And the court has to obey that. As far as this situation is concerned, the current status of this situation, that has happened since January 8th of this year, clearly shows the harm that is done to these parties, and clearly gives credence to what the parties' intentions were back in February of 2022 when they entered into this agreement to seal. And we think that that it is proper for the case to remain under seal. Now, again, I was not involved back in 2022 in this matter. It is my understanding that it's not a.
That's his way of saying I would have done things differently if I was involved. I wasn't involved. I would have gone through proper procedure here in order to ensure that none of this would have actually seen the light of day. I wasn't involved at that stage. I'm trying to now fix this problem here before the public has a right to tear through this entire file. But yeah,
Hearing that was done, it was just a consent order that was prepared and presented to the court, not this court, but prepared and presented to the court, and that order was signed off on and filed. And so we think that if this court does, based upon those facts, unseal this record, that this court should also consider putting in protections for the parties' private information pursuant to 911-7.1, which allows this court to do that. Thank you, Judge.
Your Honor, our motion is very similar.
I understand. Thank you. All right. I find that the prior order, although it was by consent of parties, was not properly entered because the Uniform Superior Court rules require a hearing to be had. We can find no evidence that any such hearing was ever had, so I'm going to grant the motion vacating the consent order, sealing the record. And I'll do that today. I'll have your written order. Ms. Merchant, unless you have something else, you're excused.
I do not. Thank you so much, Judge.
Your Honor, that takes care of our things. Thank you.
Yes. Well done, Counselor.
nice. I don't know. I missed a joke. Let's see what they said. Wait, what happened? There was
Now
a
we
joke.
have Mr.
There was a joke. What happened?
Something else, you're excused.
I do not. Thank you so much, Judge.
Your Honor, that takes care of our things. Thank you.
Yes. Well done, Counselor.
Oh, he's saying, "Well done, counsel," when the guy did nothing. That's what the joke.
Now we have Mr. Axsom's motion by a non-party deponent for a protective order. Mr. Axsom and Ms. Hastings has filed a response to that. Before we get started, Mr. Axsom, Ms. Hastings, I'll go ahead and tell you both. I've read the pleadings, so you don't have to read them back to me, okay, in making your arguments. Mr. Axsom, if you would, sir, I just need for you to focus your argument today on subsection 1 of your motion for protective order, if you don't mind. So you may proceed, Mr. Axsom.
Okay, thank you, Judge. Give me 1 second.
Oh, so Mr. Axsom is Fani's counsel. It's his application. So normally the way the process goes is when there's a motion, whoever the movement is has to sort of make their pitch to the court first, which is logical. And then the other side sort of responds back to everything that was thrown at it. So I'm going to tell you right now, there's nothing more frustrating than being the one on camera. If it's, I don't know if we're going to see both sides on camera, but there's nothing. It's so, you feel so neutered if you're stuck on some stupid Zoom camera compared to someone being in the face of the court or the judge. It's like, it's not the same presence. It really isn't. So we'll see how this plays out. Oh, he's even got a virtual background. Oh, that's great. Oh, that's great. I'm loving it. I'm loving it. It looks like a virtual background to me. I'm pretty sure there's a little echo of his head moving around. Yeah, that's a virtual background. Well, I don't want him to be alone, so I'm going to use a virtual background also, just so that, like, you know, just so he doesn't feel, you know, like, why do I have to be the only one with a virtual background? So I'm going to use me a virtual background also, so that my head can move in and out of appearing and not appearing. I think that's only fair. So this maybe will give his motion a better chance. All right.
Your Honor, I know that you were asking me, and I will be brief, to focus on subsection 1. I think there's some low-hanging fruit that I don't know if it's come up. I don't know if the court had the opportunity to examine it. But before we get to subsection 1, I really do apologize. I would like to handle the issue as to whether the 2 subpoenas that have been served are defective.
Well, we don't need to reach that yet, Mr. Axon. If you'll focus your argument on subsection 1 and tell me why the protective order should be granted. If it is granted, then we don't really need to reach the subpoena argument. So like I said, press for time. This is my criminal jury trial week. Just argue subsection 1.
He's not off to a good start. This is not a good start. He's like, I told you what I wanted to hear from you. Why are you just blah, 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 blah about other stuff? Rule 1 of being a successful litigator is when the court directs you towards what they want to hear you talk about, that is where you go. Always, always, without exception. The only exception to that rule is the rule that there are no exceptions to that rule, ever.
I sure will. All right, so dealing with subsection 1, Your Honor, which deals with 26.1. Specifically, my argument hinges on the pleadings. Now, I have not seen the pleadings, but based on the argument that I put forward, this is an uncontested, it's a no-fault divorce, and based on that, both parties have alleged that it's irretrievably broken.
Okay, so when you start off by saying my argument is based on the pleadings that I've never read, just ask yourself, like, how strong does this sound? You're sitting here in front of a virtual background, not answering the question he wants. And when you get there, you're like, well, my argument is rooted in the pleadings that I've never read, but I'm guessing that the pleadings probably say something, since it's a no-fault divorce. They probably say something to the effect of that this is an irretrievable marriage. Okay. Irretrievably broken. Unfixable. You can't get duct tape to fix this marriage. Not enough duct tape to fix this marriage. So why would you need to subpoena my client?
And because they've alleged that, and the pleadings as they stand deal specifically with whether the arguments, hang on one second, give me 1 second.
Oh my God.
Hold that up.
Oh no. Oh no. I'm going to go on record saying right now, I think Trump walks. I think Trump walks. And you're sending me, Joe, why would you? This is who Fani hires. This is the talent that she manages to find for her own defense, her own personal defense. This is the skill level. This diversity hire is the skill level that she has found. My God. She literally could pick any attorney in the entire state of Georgia, and she found diversity hire, virtual background, fading in and out of a screen, never having read the pleadings, not answering what the judge wants him to answer, and saying, "Oh, I'm sorry, I'm not sure. Give me 1 second here." I'm sorry. If Trump's counsel can't beat the likes of the diversity hires that are almost certainly coming after him from Georgia, he deserves to go away for a long time. Oh, that's good. Give a blank expression while you're reviewing documents here for the court. Everyone wants to see the blank expression on your face when you're sitting there pulling up documents on your screen to sit there reviewing and try to figure out where to go. Like you had no idea that these questions you had no idea that these questions were going to be asked. Like, what's the basis of your motion?
All right.
I'm good. Go. Okay.
The response in the plaintiff's pleadings alleges that it is permissible to bring up issues regarding the conduct of the parties. But I believe the pleadings are the things that set the boundaries. So in this case, the no-fault discovery alleging adultery is not relevant. The defendant brings up in the response that the plaintiff did not tell the defendant he was separated. Plaintiff did not comply with discovery until the motion was actually filed. The plaintiff may have used marital funds for the trip, but every one of those issues involves the plaintiff's actions during divorce. Had nothing to do with Ms. Willis. The issue before the court, if it's a no-fault divorce, and it's irretrievably broken, is how do you divide the marital assets? And that is the issue that was brought up in the response. So specifically, we're dealing with equitable division of the marital estate, the dissipation of the marital assets, and the plaintiff's capacity to provide spousal support. So those three things are the things that the court has to deal with.
So the point that he's trying to make here, which sounds like it could potentially be a decent point, is since it's a no-fault divorce, at this stage, all that's left for the court to do is to assess how do we distribute the assets, and trying to assess what happened that led to this irretrievably broken marriage towards falling apart is not relevant. Now, I don't know anything about Georgian law, and certainly nothing about Georgian divorce law. So don't take me as some sort of expert in this area, because I damn well am not. Okay. It could, in theory, be that's a factor. You would think that it's likely that even in a no-fault case, if there's, I guess no fault might be unless no fault is a concession, then neither party is at fault, which is possible. So once that concession is made and accepted by both sides, then maybe you can't now go back and say, hey, it really was his fault. It's possible. I don't know. We'll hear from the other side, I guess, shortly on that. But I think his point is all that's left is to figure out, is to ignore what led to the dissolution of this marriage and just figure out how the funds should be distributed between the parties.
All of those things sit squarely with the plaintiff. Ms. Willis does not share any accounts with him. D.A. Willis does not determine what he spends his money on, no matter where it comes from. So the issue is, if it's a no fault and it's irretrievably broken, and the pleadings dictate the boundaries of the case, it's not relevant as to fault. It's not relevant as to the conduct of the parties. So that's essentially my argument with regard to the irretrievably broken in 26.1. I believe 26.1 protects, because Ms. District Attorney Fani Willis is an officer as it is defined in 26.1. So it protects her. And according to 26.1b, there are two requirements that have to be met. The officer has to be high ranking, and I don't think that's in dispute. When you look at Ms. Willis and the demands on her office, Ms. Willis has Fulton County Office of the District Attorneys. The only way I can put this in context is to give you some background on that. She manages a staff of 360 plus lawyers and staff. She oversees cases right now, 20,000 open cases. She coordinates on a monthly basis at least 5.
She's overseeing 20,000 cases, but she doesn't. But she spends the funding on one case. So, yeah. Yeah, she's not really overseeing 20,000 cases. She's responsible for 20,000 cases and seems to care primarily about only one of them.
She coordinates on a monthly basis at least 500 or more cases for indictment. So in this case, of course, the most recognizable issue is that she's dealing with, over in Fulton County, the election interference case involving former President Trump.
Well, I'll tell you what, Mr. Axon, let me interrupt you. Let me
Yes.
ask you just,
He's like, don't start talking to me about Donald Trump. Don't start doing that. Don't start pleading with me like, we're going after Trump. Please leave her alone.
focus on the part of the law that says the proposed opponent lacks unique personal knowledge of any matter that's relevant. Are you saying that your client lacks unique personal knowledge that could not be discovered some other way?
He's feeding you the answer. You need to come up with a way to say yes to that. And the way you would say yes to that is you say nothing material. Because obviously she's going to know a lot more about his personal breakup than anyone else would. But that, you know, other than Nathan Wade himself. But he's saying that that's not material to this particular case because it's a no-fault divorce case and all that's left is the distribution of assets. So when a judge is spoon-feeding you the answer that you want, you really want to try and find a way to say yes to that as quickly as possible.
Argue that she does, that the knowledge that she may or may not have is not unique. You've got two parties in the case, one who is alleged to have some extramarital affair with Ms. Willis. If that is the case, if that is true, he has that information. We've been at this case, well, I have, but 783 days.
Oh, God, no, that's not the way. Stick to your guns. That whatever she has unique knowledge of is not relevant to this case because it's a no-fault case. That's where you stick to your guns. Don't start saying he could give an answer, that he can come in there and testify, or some collateral thing of, oh, we've been at this for 780 days. Jadine says, yeah, Joe, I know. I like when you read things for my own personal amusement. Well, you're welcome. Yeah, I give you money that I'm amused. Fair trade, my friend. Indeed. It's hard to say which of us is the winner. It's really hard to say which of us is the winner. It's very close. No, the rest of your hire. If they're determining assets, they have to determine where those assets came from. Probably not. You wouldn't think that's relevant. if you can establish how many assets, it could be. But it's like you're talking about how many hours he's working, how much he's bringing in his firm. He's probably not getting paid directly. It's probably going to his firm. He's probably getting paid from his firm. So I don't know how his firm is being financed by the state. That's a layer away. So I don't know that that's going to be relevant. I was late to the show, so not sure if you addressed the Matthew Marsden thing. I didn't address him by name. I didn't call him out by name, but I did talk about it earlier. I think it might be good to have him as a guest. He usually has good takes on stuff, notwithstanding this morning. I'm going to come back to that a little bit later. I'm going to come back to that after I finish up here.
And on day 776, somewhere in there, we get this notice of deposition. So to focus on that part of the section, no, I think there are other means.
How is that relevant?
That information can be retrieved in this case.
All right, thank you, Mr. Axon. Ms. Hastings?
Finish him. Go get him, Betty Lou.
Your Honor, I think that you honed in on exactly what the issue is here today, naturally. The face of her pleading shows that she has unique knowledge with regards to this case. She could have filed a motion for protective order alleging all of the legal grounds for which she would like to not have to sit for a deposition. She believes she's protected, but she didn't stop there. She went further. She asserted in her pleading, her motion for protective order to prevent herself from sitting for a deposition, that she knows the cause of the separation of these people. She knows detailed facts, allegedly, about their relationship. And albeit we'll deal with the falsity of those at a different hearing, that's what she said. She said it in her pleading. So on its face, her argument fails that she does not have unique knowledge with regards to the party's marriage and this situation.
She gave away the store. That's what she's saying. Because think about it. Until 10 minutes ago, this file was sealed. How did you know it was a no fault? Oh, how did you know that? Oh, how did you know that? How did you know that? Good catch there, honey. She has a real Glenda look to her, doesn't she? Am I wrong in saying I see Glenda? No, but you could have gone home all along. But you could have gone home all along. That's just what I'm seeing here. Your personal amusement should be important to you. It should be. You work hard for your money, for crying out loud. You have a right to spend it any freaking way you want. Should be. We don't have enough personal amusement in this world. So if it's working for you, God bless. That wig looks great on. I'm telling you, it's virtual. It's like my hat looks like a wig here. It's the virtual reality. That's what it is. He's a VR. He's a VR tuber. She looks like Rowena from the show Supernatural. I'm here for it. Wish she had that accent. I don't remember Rowena. I did watch several seasons of Supernatural, but I don't remember Rowena.
Beyond that, Your Honor, I would turn the court, obviously, to 9/11/26C and Ewing versus Ewing, which clearly states a party seeking a protective order with regards to discovery. When a party does, the trial court may make an order which justice requires to protect the party or person from annoyance, harassment, oppression, etc. However, protective orders should not be awarded when the effect is to frustrate and prevent legitimate discovery. Furthermore, the Georgia Court of Appeals has held that protective orders are intended to be protective, not prohibitive. And that's exactly what DA Willis is seeking to do in this case. She's not seeking protection, she's seeking prohibition of our ability to access facts. I can state as an officer of the court in my place here today that the first time in the 783 days that this case has been pending, the first time that I heard that the alleged cause of the separation was some false claim with regards to my client in 2017 was in her pleading. So I have questions. And that's just the beginning.
Oh my God. I'm telling you, buffoonery. That's what Fani Willis's office is plagued with. You didn't realize that you're giving something brand new that even defense counsel doesn't know about? Oh my God. Oh my God. Wow, there's such bad lawyers. Fani Willis. Oh my God. I almost hope we get to see this trial. I really almost hope we do, because I'll tell you right now, I think that it will be laugh track. I'll have to like instead of like my whole like, you know, clown thing that I got, I'm gonna have to like have like a laugh track going with some of the objections. I mean, this is just a joke. Wow. They just like served her up on a platter.
Furthermore, Your Honor, the black letter law of the state is that in divorce cases, in which equitable division of property is at issue, the conduct of the parties, including evidence of the spouse's alleged adultery, is relevant and admissible.
Wow. Oh my God, Mr. Axum, what do you say to that? You're saying that we shouldn't care about this because it's a no fault, but black letter law, according to Glinda here, is that that adultery here would impact even in a no fault case. So what do you guys say to that, Mr. Axum? $783 days. That's what I have to say to that. 783 days. Donald Trump. We're going after Donald Trump.
We don't have to plead adultery in the initial petition, but we also have the ability under OCGA 91115 to amend the pleadings anytime up until the entry of a pretrial order. We have the right, regardless of whether or not the grounds for divorce alleged in the petition is that the marriage is irretrievably broken, to discover information with regards to adultery. We have questions. I want to know about how he's been spending his money. I have a reason to believe he's spending it on another woman. That's my client's money. And I want to ask questions about that. She's trying to hide under the shield of her position improperly, I would suggest, Your Honor. There's a couple things that are improper about it. First of all, and I'd like for the court to clarify this, there's no doubt that she's busy. She has one of the most active district attorney offices in the state. However, as Mr. Axum cited under 911-26.1 D2, if you look at that, it says the person seeking the protective order had unique personal knowledge of one or more matters relevant to the subject matter. We know she did. She put it in her pleading. We also know that she did because although she asserted falsehoods in her pleading, we asserted facts in our response. And those facts, even the ones we've just shown, clearly demonstrate that she's got some unique personal knowledge in this case. But more than that, we're not seeking her deposition as the district attorney of Fulton County. We're seeking her deposition in her individual capacity as the alleged paramour of my client's husband. So whatever her job is has nothing to do with whether or not she should have to sit for this deposition. I'm sure that it's inconvenient. It's inconvenient for all of us. However, I have questions and she needs to answer them.
You can't use your job as a shield. You might have an important job. You might try to make it more important than it should be. Whatever it is, wherever you land on that side of the tracks, at the end of the day, you can't use your job as a shield. You're not the president. You're freaking district attorney. Know your place, woman. The journey's been hard. Oh, struggle is real. Lord, I have questions. Lord. Apparently this attorney has questions too. Everyone's got questions. Fani got questions of the Lord. This chick got questions for Fani. Everybody's got questions. Lots of questions. Oh my God. I have a feeling she's going to get a chance to ask these questions.
I want to bring one other matter to the court's attention with regards to her position that I think has not been highlighted in this. With regards to her position, in her motion, page 9, top of the page, she stated unequivocally, D.A. Willis stated that if we pursue this subpoena, we are obstructing justice.
Yeah, Ms. Hastings, that's why I told Mr. Axum to stay away from that. because I don't think I want to hear that today.
Because he's like, you're full of crap. That is crap. Stop with your stupid obstructing justice. Like she's on some virtuous mission. Like she's sitting here part of the Salvation Army and she's a colonel and the general in the Salvation Army here marching on some freaking crusade that you're obstructing justice and I will come marching on through on my march toward justice. And how dare you stand in the way of justice? Unbelievable. This chick is way better than Elaine. Way better than Elaine. In every way imaginable.
Okay. Then, Your Honor,
think we're done.
that's our argument with regards to the propriety. It's clear that she has relevant information.
Okay, Ms. Hastings, correct me if I'm wrong, but in the over 2 years this case has been pending, we have yet to hold an evidentiary hearing where we heard testimony of either party. Is that correct?
That is correct, Your
We've
Honor.
been up to now dealing with discovery disputes. Correct.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. And neither party has been deposed.
Correct.
All right. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Kimbrough, you have anything to add?
I do not.
So the judge may come back and say, well, why do we need to run to have you depose Fani? Why don't you depose Nathan and then we'll see what comes out of there. And maybe during the course of that deposition, you'll get all the information you need. You won't need Fani, and we won't have to bother this very busy woman on her march toward justice. So it seems as if, I'll tell you, this judge seems like he's not stupid. He seems competent from what we've seen so far, that he's basically like, okay, I think you have a point. It sounds like he's leaning to it. This is what I'm taking from his question there, that he thinks that she has a point, but it might be premature to give the relief. And maybe we can give a temporary protective order. And this is what I think he's leaning toward. Temporary protective order, have depositions, then have your whole application based on what you get from Nathan Wade during the course of your depositions. And then we can see, maybe he'll own up to everything you want. And then we won't have to ever bother Fani. So, and he's going to have to be deposed no matter what. That sounds like a wise move for a judge to make.
You're sitting this one out?
I
Okay.
will take Mr. Fly's read on that one.
All right. Well, both sides have good points. Ms. Hastings, I agree with. The irretrievably broken does not prohibit you from presenting evidence of adultery if that's relevant to equitable division of marital estate or marital assets. So I agree with you there. You're not prohibited from getting into that. However, I also agree with Mr. Axon that OCGA 91126.1 is there for a reason. And the key part to me is whether the proposed opponent lacks unique personal knowledge or has unique personal knowledge of a matter that's relevant to the subject matter. And under D1, that statute, that the party seeking the deposition has exhausted other reasonable means of discovery and found such discovery to be inadequate. So really, I'm not in a position where I have sufficient information to make a finding either way of whether the proposed opponent has unique knowledge. Because this case is a divorce, and I understand there are children, but they have attained the age of majority. So we don't have to deal with child custody or visitation or child support or who's going to have the final say on medical or educational or religious issues. So that takes out a large portion of what people normally fight over in divorces. It seems to me, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, that what we have here is a math problem. Equitable division of the marital assets after determining what they actually are, alimony, and attorney's fees. That's a mathematical equation that we need to solve. The solution will be a number or three numbers, but the numbers will be expressed in dollars and cents. And without Mr. Wade having been deposed yet or given testimony yet, I'll note for the record we have
I told you, failure to depose him first puts you in a position now where we don't know. Maybe he'll give up everything you want. And he's going to want to go to Fani as a course of last resort.
a hearing set for 9 days away where sworn testimony can be presented. Without me knowing what Mr. Wade would say, it seems to me that Mr. Wade would be the first and best source of information on what his income has been and how he's been spending it, and that he would have firsthand knowledge of whether he's engaged in an extramarital affair. Only after I hear what Mr. Wade has to say do I think I can make a determination of whether the proposed opponent has any unique.
What is the right decision?
Because once again, this is a math problem, and that we need to find a solution to. So, with all that being said, I'm not prepared, Mr. Axon,
You stay decision on this.
to grant your protective order, but
I'm not prepared to deny
since
it.
the deposition is set for tomorrow and our first evidentiary hearing is set for the 31st, I will issue a stay. And I will stay the deposition.
The 31st. Oh, God bless you, Judge. Oh, God bless you. God bless you, Judge. Oh, God bless you. God bless you. God bless you. God bless you. Oh, my God. That is amazing. Amazing. I have a 24-hour stream on the 31st. Yes, yours truly has a 24-hour freaking stream. Every hour of January 31st, I plan on streaming. And one of the things you think about when you start putting together for a 24-hour stream is, oh my God, what the hell am I going to talk to these people about for 24 hours? And here along comes Judge Roberts or whatever his name is. And so far, I got to tell you, I'm very impressed with him, very impressed with the logic that he's applying. And boom, 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 he gives me Fani. He gives me Fani. He's like, Joe, I'm serving up Fani. I'm serving up Fani for you. How can I say no? How can I say no? God bless you. God bless you, kind sir. Man, everything the world's like about this judge. Oh, in case you're not aware, January 31st, I'm going to have a 24-hour stream. Lots of guests popping in and out, in and out. It's going to be like crazy town in here. It's going to be crazy town. We're going to be raising drinks. I'm going to be drinking. They're going to be whooping and hollering. I'm going to be hitting like all sorts of like, stuff. I'm going to be hitting like boom over and over again. It's going to be fire, fire, fire. And somewhere along the way, it's going to be featuring this fine man right here.
Until I'm in a better position to make a determination of whether the proposed opponent would have any unique knowledge, unique being the key word there, that is not possessed by Mr. Wade himself. Now, if there's not anything else, I need to seat a jury in a criminal case.
Adios. Nope. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Axon.
Thank you. Adios. All right. So there you go. I think that was the right call. I think it's premature right now for him to make a determination as to whether or not a protective order keeping her. I can stop. I can stop with this, right? I can stop with the virtual because I really don't like the virtual. So yeah, there you go. I think he did a good job. I think he did a very good job, and that was. Even if he doesn't give me the decision that, look, we all want that protective order denied so that we can basically get her to be deposed. You sort of have to look at it from the perspective of like, he's a judge. He's supposed to be making like right decisions. And this sounds like the right decision. in every way, shape, and form. All right. So I wanted to share a couple of other things with you here. A couple of other things. So after I told you earlier, what are you saying to me? Currently, New Hampshire primaries this Tuesday, 23rd, 6:30. How come? Mario's asking me to come onto Spaces tomorrow. I'm probably going to join him on Spaces at 6:30 tomorrow. All right. So that's going to be on Twitter. So that's one of the things I'll be doing tomorrow. I'll drop a link for that on Locals at goodlogic.locals.com. Goodlogic.locals.com. But what is this? That's not what I wanted. Nope, that's not what I wanted. But God, the question. That's definitely want Nikki Haley. Oh my God, no. Okay, so what I wanted to share with you wasn't this. It was. I told you that I was trolling. And I even told Viva beforehand, I was like, I'm thinking about trolling. He's like, you can do better. And I told him I was planning on trolling with. He's like, you do better. So I said, okay, if he doesn't think it's good enough, I'm going to try and do better. So what I trolled with was this. Because as I mentioned at the start of tonight's show, that I'm really basking in the fact that this gives me a license to be fake news now that I am now officially a member of the press. So I was like, and then Matthew Marsden, apparently he's an actor who was in a Rambo movie and has 158,000 followers and supposedly is based. He was not too happy with my post. And I was mocking him for being a crayon eater. I was doing that. I was mocking him for being a crayon eater, for not realizing that, hey, if I say I'm now licensed to give fake news and I follow that up with a comment supporting various health issues, that I'm not actually weighing in on that because obviously I know nothing about medicine. Did a link get off? Wait, I got that. Late getting here tonight. Great show, Viva. Keep up the good work. Thank you. Drop back. Having lived in UK, serving up Fani is wild. Hey, there you go. There you go. That's what she said. He could have to plead the 5th on the 31st, though. He may. We'll see. Definitely planning coming alive. Joe, be a mensch. Invite Sean. Oh, I'll invite Sean. Yeah, I'll send him an invite. I didn't realize he was here. I've been busy looking around. I've been looking around doing stuff. But I'll definitely invite Sean. Here you go. Let me just do this here. Open another link. I'll invite my Sean. Where are you? Sean. Boom. Sent him an invite. All right. Thank you. Thank you for my congratulations. Okay. I didn't see it. I didn't see it, J-Rock, but thank you for the support, the love and support. How do I give you a monthly subscription on YouTube? You hit the join. There's a join button. You hit join. It's not that hard. I can show you. You go to YouTube and then you go to my channel. Got a good logic. Ooh, look who's here. It's potentially Criminal Sean. How are you, brother? Got a good logic.
Hey, Joe, how you doing?
Thank God. You're a little loud, though.
Oh, I am sorry.
Oh, that's much better. That's
Okay.
perfect.
Well,
So let me just I need to share with this guy here who's asking about monthly subscriptions that the way you do that is you come over here and you see this button here. It says join. You just sort of hit the join button. And they say join this channel and you can choose. You can be a follower. You could be a disciple. You can be a leader. You could be a prophet. You can even be a high priest. I've had a couple of high priests. High priests are cool. High priests are cool. But prophets cool, leaders cool, disciples cool, followers cool. People who don't end up being followers. Love you all. You're all phenomenal. So there you go. Let's if you want to be a monthly subscriber on the channel. So what are you up to, my brother?
Not much. Just so you know, when that person said they're from the UK, when you talk about serving up Fanny, in Fanny in British slang means like female genitals.
Yeah, I had a feeling.
Okay, so it's like you're gonna be
I had a feeling. I had a feeling.
24 hours of Fanny.
24 hours of Fanny. Where else could anyone? Are you going to pop in here on the 31st?
Yeah, if you send me a link, I'll come by.
Of course I will. When you get banned for bringing on a suspended, are you really suspended?
I got a community guideline strike because I was hanging out on Saturday night and I was watching videos, and while I was streaming, I didn't realize that having a stream of somebody holding a gun counts as a no different than actually holding a gun yourself. Yeah. Oh, we're not Twitch. They don't suspend you. Oh, so yeah, I'm in the lifeboat for a week. So I'm in the lifeboat for a week.
Lifeboat. Wait, you say suspended, or you said
yeah? So I'm suspended.
Guideline?
Yeah, it's a community guideline strike, but it's like a warning. So it's one of those 3 you get. I haven't been punished for I haven't. I can still go onto my community tab. I can still access everything. I just can't upload or stream right now. So
he's saying the Apple app does not have that. So if the Apple app doesn't have that, first of all, I recommend goodlogic.locals.com. That's what I recommend. That's what I really recommend. If you just want to show me love, you can hit me up on PayPal also. There's that too. That's in my links in the description down below. There are some people, believe it or not, I have 1 or 2 people. I have like 2 or 3 people who send me monthly on PayPal just to show their love. And I never really call them out on stream, but I want, in case you're watching this now, which you likely are, I just want to tell you, I genuinely appreciate you fine people. I got one yesterday, in fact, and it's like, wow, that's so nice of you. It's very, very. I never know how. It's like I sort of will find it, at 4 a.m, and I'll be like, oh wow, that's nice. So, I don't know what to tell you about Apple. I don't know how to help you with that, but I would recommend goodlogic.locals.com, or you can do it from a browser. So there's that alternative as well.
Yes.
So I was sharing my story because as you probably saw, I'm a member of the press now.
Yeah, you got your official journalist badge.
Did you see what happened to me on Twitter today, where I got Matthew Marsden, who apparently is somebody?
No, I didn't.
Some guy. So when I put up a thing basically saying now I'm officially part of fake news. So, and then I finished that tweet with "Get Vaxxed, Stop the Spread."
Oh, Joe.
That not that I was giving medical advice, because I don't know anything about medicine. YouTube, I know nothing about. I'm sitting here with a band guy. This is like if I lose my,
you're gonna be fine. You should be fine. There's no issue with this. Like if this was Twitch, yeah, they would kill you for this, but this is not. YouTube doesn't have the same rules. You'll be all right, Joe.
J-Rock, I'm telling you now, I'm gonna be tagging you on X.
Yeah.
If this blows up my face, because if by the time I get hit with it, it's gonna blow out my January 31st thing, and
you'll be fine. You're gonna be
cost
fine.
Me a lot of money.
I promise you're gonna be fine, Joe. You can if something happens, you probably have somebody you can call that and you're
That's what I'm supposed to be dependent on, that there's someone I can call.
Well, yeah, you've got you've probably got a cousin or somebody you can call. And
what is that supposed to be?
You know what I'm talking about, Joe.
I know what you're trying to say.
Remember the media now and all that.
It's total, which is hot garbage. I know you weren't saying the media. You weren't giving me freaking media.
Well, you're part of the media. You've got real credentials now. You've got real credit. Yeah. Did you have to pay for like a license fee for those? That press pass?
I don't remember, but apparently it wasn't anything noticeable. It wasn't like it wasn't like my license for like practicing law, which is like $300 or whatever.
It was
annually
a de minimis amount.
It was, if anything, it was a de minimis amount. It wasn't anything I would remember. But no, the bigger hassle is that you have to come up with 6 videos that you share and link, and you have to find the actual URL, and then you have to get the actual. It's like it's a whole complicated thing, and you have to do it every year. And I'm like, oh my god, I'm going to do this next year also. It's so stupid. Anyway,
well, I was going to say it also. If you ever need to, though, you can go to one of those you can go online to like some of these ID company, like that they make the little badges, and you can make yourself like your own little badge, like near Good Logic Media or Trump Trial Media. And that way you have like your own little badge that goes with it. It looks kind of snazzy, and you can get like a little holographic overlay for like $15.
All right. Well, anyway, so I've been basking in this. I've been basking in it, and then this guy Matthew Marsden
I'm
called
gonna
me.
look this up.
If you check him on IMDb, he's done one thing, which is
Okay.
And apparently, everyone's telling me he's really based, so I don't want to come after him like really. And he did delete the tweet, but he did say, "This is your classic." He quote tweeted me and said, "This is your classic never Trumper," and I'm like, "What?" I literally responded with, what? But yeah,
Well,
so I basically referred to him as being, I said I sort of assumed that contextually in the wake after fake news of declaring myself fake news, that the rest of the tweet would be read, but apparently there's some of the crayon eaters in the back kind of missed the memo.
Well, it's far easier for people to just fly off the handle. One, but also number two, they start
later. Yeah.
Well, but there's also the idea that if somebody's watching, starting to read what you were talking about, they're like, "Oh, it's third time vaxxed, soy boy." So I'm sure that they just went ahead and assumed you were. I mean, you trolled and you got the reaction you were looking for, though.
But
Joe.
I wasn't trying to trick anyone. The point was that I'm saying the exact opposite of what I believe. That was normally. Sometimes, if I had just written those 6 words standing alone, then I can understand why someone would take that. But when, in the context that I'm giving it, I'm kind of where I'm calling myself fake news. I sort of figured, I didn't think I was trolling. I wasn't trying to trick anyone into it. But after that happened, I was rolling. So I basically, I was like, all right, now I'm going to really start. Now I'm going to really troll. And this is what I came up with. Ace fake news reporter, Good Lawgic, reporting to you live from New York City, where claims of undocumented persons seem overstated. In a survey of Starbucks patrons, none of them said that they were undocumented. However, an anonymous straight white man reportedly claimed too many foreigners. Figuring that, like, this is your classic fake news story about like how the problem's not nearly as bad as it is, but it's a whole bunch of racists who are screaming about it,
running around.
And an anonymous. And I like the anonymous source. It's a straight white man, like whether he's straight or not. So that's what I was really. That was the point to this troll, which people appreciated. But then someone said he read it in this voice, and this floored me. I was crying when I was watching this. This is a real channel, which has like 3 times as many subs as I have. This is a guy who's reporting the weather in Los Angeles.
This is Frankie McDowell, my own TV station live in Sydney, Nova Scotia. Heavy rains head towards Los Angeles, California on Monday, January 22nd, 2024. It's going to bring up to a lot of rain in Los Angeles, California. It's going to bring a lot of holes to the streets of Los Angeles, California, Long Beach, California, including Burbank, California, Glendale, California, Victorville, California, Hollywood, California, and Orange County, Riverside, California, Anaheim, California, Riverside, California, Orange County, California, Corona, California.
Naming every place in California. This guy from Nova Scotia naming every place in California.
It's going to bring a lot of rain, including in Hollywood, California as well. Streets, roads, highways, and freeways and interstate highways will be wet. And there will be a lot of puddles on the streets of Los Angeles.
It's going to be wet. Oh my God, I love this guy.
And Monday will not be at the beach to go swimming and get cooled off. Because
those are people in Nova Scotia for you.
Don't interrupt the news reports. We need to know what's going to happen.
Los Angeles and surrounding areas on Monday, January 22nd, 2024. I want everyone in Los Angeles, California to be prepared. Make sure if your rubber boots, raincoats, ready. When you go outside, wearing rubber boots, wearing raincoats, and keep it dry. Don't walk through the puddles. Avoid the puddles when you go for a walk. When you drive your car, don't drive your car to the puddles either. For people living in Los Angeles and its surrounding areas as well.
Oh my God.
Because it's going to bring a lot of rain in Los Angeles, California, and Long Beach, California, Burbank, California, Glendale, California, Hollywood, California, Riverside, California, Anaheim, California, Corona, California, Orange County, California, Victorville, California. It's going to bring a lot of rain in Los Angeles and its surrounding areas.
Oh my God.
If anybody lives in Los Angeles, be prepared for it. Heavy rain on Monday, January 22nd, 2024. Take care, stay safe. Don't get caught in heavy rain. Stay dry and be safe.
This guy's a genius. He's a freaking genius. Oh my God, I love that guy.
Well, okay, so I've never heard of him before. So he's in Canada, right?
That guy?
Yeah. Because it sounded like he said he's in Nova Scotia, and people are saying, "Oh, he sounds like he's on the spectrum." The funny thing is, if you ever deal with people from Nova Scotia, when they talk to you, you think they're on the spectrum anyway because they're from Nova Scotia. They speak a they are weird.
That's Frankie McDonald, and the dude has 285,000 subs. And I gotta tell you,
I'm sure you're gonna get a lot of Canadians who are gonna agree with me. If you
well earned 285,000 subs. This guy is amazing, amazing. Oh God, I'm thinking like I'm actually thinking I'm gonna be watching a lot of his videos through my 24-hour stream. You see, I subscribed to the guy. As soon as I saw that video, I was like, "Oh yeah, for sure." For sure. That guy's a guy. I need to know whenever he posts. I want to know.
Well, you gotta. Is that your guilty pleasure when you're watching?
Wait, you think there's something wrong?
No. I meant but when you're off here, that's your jam.
No. Someone responded to me.
Oh.
Someone responded to me by saying when I put this out, he responded by saying that he said that he read it in that guy's voice.
Yes.
So see, he said I read in his voice, and that's where I found this guy. I appreciate you implying 2011. God bless you for introducing me to Frankie McDonald, because that dude is amazing.
Yeah. Well, no, I meant like now is that you're going to be when you're taking a dump? That's like what you're watching on YouTube now.
Probably. I'm going to be like going through the entire list of every report because I feel as if he's going to give me a lot of information I've never heard before. So I definitely, and it's information I must have. So
somebody in chat, I just saw this. I don't know who said it. Said he caused all the forest fires back in Canada this summer. Oh my gosh!
Let me get a couple of these.
He does animal imitations too on his shorts.
Oh my gosh! Don't ruin it for me. You have to say spoiler alert before you say that, because oh my gosh, I can't wait to check this. I can't wait. I want to have my first reaction to his full catalog live on stream. So
okay,
what's the name of your band?
I don't have a band.
Oh, okay.
Herniated Squirrel would be the name of a band if I had a band.
Nice. Hell hath no fury like a woman scorned. She wants to cook his little butt. I think it's talking about Mrs. Nathan
Oh,
Wade.
yeah.
Marsden was in Coronation Street, Black Hawk Down, and a few other things. When I looked at him on IMDb, I wasn't making a joke. I wasn't trying to mock him. But when I looked at him on that, all I saw was Rambo, like 2008 version of Rambo.
Oh.
And
what was he in Black Hawk Down? Which guy was he?
And apparently, a lot of people told me he's based. So I'm really not looking. And then that's why I actually sent him a tweet, which is a genuine olive branch offering to the guy. So this is when I pull him up here, and this is what I got on the guy, Matthew Marsden. And
he's British. British.
Oh, is he? Yeah. So this is him here, and
he started Black Hawk Down. He was in.
I don't see Black Hawk Down.
If you go on the IMDb, it says it like.
I don't know, maybe it was earlier in his career. That's why.
Well, yeah, Black Hawk Down was 22 years ago.
Yeah, you're right. So, he is in Black Hawk Down.
Well,
but when I try finding a clip of him, it was basically Rambo yelling, "Who are you? Who are you?" So, and that's what I was thinking when I heard from him. I was like, "Who are you?"
What does he do in this movie? I'm trying to find it.
Yeah, I don't remember ever seeing him before. But Choosy Heretics, thank you for the super chat. I appreciate you. Please look at the video of him moving like a cow. I'm not doing that tonight. I'm not doing that now.
Yeah, you can't waste it.
Yeah, no, that's going to be part of my January 31st 24-hour stream. God bless you for platforming Frankie. Oh my God, are you kidding me? I need him to platform me. That dude is awesome. How much play? It was great, right? It was great.
Yes.
I know.
That was pretty good. That was good.
Frankie for high priest in the. I would give him an honorary high priest in the following. Frankie, he's awesome. Billy Weatherman,
Yes.
New Hampshire. Yeah. So, anyway, I want to ask you your thoughts because you're into the politics. I want to get your thoughts.
Yes.
I have a few questions. I have questions for you. So my questions are
Okay.
basically, what do you think DeSantis was thinking when he first ran, and what do you think happened that everything the wheels fell off the cart?
I think DeSantis believed the polling that Trump wasn't as strong as he was. I truly think he thought that was the issue there. And at some point when you see what was going on with Trump, all these cases, everything that was building against him, I don't blame somebody like him thinking, "Oh, I've got him while he's down." When you see all this getting built up against him, it looks impressive. But now we're starting to see like the case out in Georgia. It's imploded.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I know you've talked about this, but I mentioned this when Fani Willis started cutting deals with everybody. If these people are so bad and evil and nasty and they almost killed America and democracy, and you're letting them off with diversion, are they really that bad? Or is that a signal you don't have a case?
Right.
Well, and now we're seeing like with the Young Thug RICO trial, they don't know how to do this.
But I'm going to push back on you,
yeah.
if I may.
Yeah.
I think he announced before most of these indictments came out, because I remember we were disappointed in the way he reacted to these indictments. So I think it can't just be the indictments.
No, it's not. It's not. But I think he thought Trump was a lot weaker than he was.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's ultimately because before the election season got going, everything was kind of in a lull. I think there wasn't a lot of energy there. Nobody really there wasn't that fire.
Right.
But once it became time to campaign, I think that was an issue that DeSantis wasn't ready for. I think I think the polling was a little deceptive. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me. I mean, obviously the polls are manipulated for whatever purpose, but to try to encourage people to attack Trump and try to wound him and see if Trump would cause some massive problem in the GOP, and he didn't. He just came in and crushed everybody like a bug in Iowa, and then he's going to do it again against Nikki Haley and the neocons.
Right.
That'll take care of that problem. But I think so, and I think for DeSantis, he was pushing hard. Trump had all the cases against him. It made him look weak. You could go after him.
Okay.
But, these cases,
what do you think? Where do you think it went wrong?
I think he overestimated how popular. Okay, great, yay! I kind of did some COVID stuff. I think he overbanked on that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the base COVID governor. Okay, cool. In the meantime, I don't think if you try to say, "Hey, Kim Jong-un, let's go chop it up somewhere," I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think anybody's going to be scared of DeSantis saying we're going to nuke you and turn you into a pile of ashes. I don't. He doesn't come across that way to me. I think he's a great governor. People in Florida love him.
Mm-hmm.
I wish he was my governor, but other than the COVID thing, he really doesn't he doesn't really have that much else going for him.
Yeah.
And there's so much more to it. And he doesn't have that charisma. I think if you go on Twitter, I
think there are plants that have more charisma than he has.
Well, yes, but that's not necessarily a problem. But I think his team of people, especially if you go on Twitter and I'm talking about Christina Pashaw, who, God, that woman, I don't know if you've seen the pictures.
Hold on a second. You don't think charisma is an important element?
It is, but I think there's things you can do that make up for it in ways. If you are the guy who's getting it done and it just overall, you can make up for it in certain situations. It's hard to do against Trump, but if you were you know,
even Biden when he was running had a certain level. People remembered his charisma at least, you know, that he had like certain personality.
Yeah,
and you know, it's been a long time since we saw someone who didn't have that. I mean, see someone so wooden. By the way, did you listen to his announcement?
I listened to like a minute of it.
Okay, you need to hear the last 30 seconds.
I didn't hear the last bit of it.
All right, I'm gonna play for you the last 30 seconds
for the GOP nomination.
Oh no, that's not it. Damn it!
My name.
CNN, you suck. I'll go to his. I'll go to his page on Twitter and I'll find it there, because there's actually something that's pretty sad about his announcement. It's not just his half-hearted endorsement of Trump, which is very, very, very half-hearted, where he basically bashes Trump for the way he handled COVID before saying that he's supporting him. And it's like, why are you bringing that up? Why even bring that the freak up? Like,
because that's his only win. Like, that's the. Other than that, DeSantis really doesn't have anything else he could stand on.
You're announcing that you're resigning, that you're dropping out of the race. Why do you have to, like, it's so stupid.
Well, I think that's partially because his campaign is not run by the best people.
Yeah, speaking of
I mean, when you see them on Twitter, they're just they're morons. And right now it's a big cope stream. It's a big cope fest on Twitter with that and all the big DeSantis people. Like, you see now that he's quitting, all the big DeSantis ball lickers are like, you know, they just don't know what to do now.
Yeah, no.
I'm surprised he did it now, though. I mean, why wouldn't he let it ride till, you know,
tomorrow?
Yeah, I don't know why.
He's worried about being humiliated in New Hampshire. I think he was worried about being humiliated.
But if you do it today, though,
supposedly he had next to no game going on in New Hampshire. So I think he was terrified about there being like.
Well, I think he was foolish for putting all of his chips in Iowa. Then.
Yeah, well, he put a lot of chips there, but I just want you to watch the last 30 seconds here, which I'm going to give props to Tim Pool for calling this to my attention.
In Iowa to making their first snowman in New Hampshire. They are one of the reasons we fight so hard for what we believe in. Winston Churchill once remarked that success is not final, failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts.
Did you hear that quote from Winston Churchill? Success is not final, failure is not fatal. It's the courage to continue that counts. You know, Winston Churchill never said that. That's from a Budweiser ad.
Well, I was going to say, you know, if that was a quote by Churchill, the funny thing is, you know, I could see Churchill saying something like that, though, because, like, he did, you know, he was the reason the Gallipoli disaster happened in World War One.
The dude is quoting Budweiser as Churchill.
No, but I could see Churchill saying something like that, though, because, you know, success isn't final and failure is not fatal, although Churchill basically tried to kill himself in the trenches. But that is funny.
He's quoting Budweiser.
You know, and I think
of any company for him to be quoting.
Yes, and the problem with that is that shows you that's his people, because somebody wrote that in the speech for him, and they're like, and he's probably reading that, and he's like, "Hey, did Churchill really write this?" And they're like, "Yeah, boss, he did." And he's like, "Okay." I mean, that's the thing. If I was a politician, I'd be like double checking. I'd sit there with my phone, be double checking fucking quotes half the time.
If you're a politician running for this office, you can't be double checking your staff. You need to have a staff that's competent.
I wouldn't trust people.
Oh my god, that's so bad.
Either that, or I would just make up things on my own. I wouldn't attribute stuff to people. That's easier that way. I'll make my own quotes.
As Dylan Mulvaney once said.
Yes.
Oh my god.
Or as Coach Redpill once said, yeah. That was just awful, though. I can't believe he Jesus.
Yeah, that would have been amazing if he said, as Churchill once said, "What's up?"
Yeah. What's up?
What's up?
Yeah. Oh, maybe somebody on the staff really fucking hated him, but I can't believe he spent. I know he pushed really hard in Iowa, but having no game in New Hampshire, like, I guess if you didn't have anybody there, but you should have bowed out right after Iowa. It shouldn't have been this close to New Hampshire.
I guess he was struggling coming to grips with that. But
no, well,
Yeah, there's just so much wrong with even his farewell was just poorly crafted. And watching the cope from
Yeah.
some of these folks here, this guy who was a huge DeSantis follower, what's his name? I'm never
Talk
gonna.
about Max.
I'm talking. No,
That's a big DeSantis guy on Twitter.
I'm talking about John Burke.
Okay.
So John Burke, who is I mean, he doesn't have a big.
Oh, there's a big DeSantis cope space on Twitter right now.
Is there?
Is 2028 possible? Unity, let's find out. It's like,
is there
oh,
really?
yes, there is. There's
Oh my
there's an
gosh,
entire cope space.
I want to peek in on that. I want to peek in
Oh
on
god,
that.
I bet it makes a Ukrainian cope stream look good.
Oh my god.
Rational.
This guy who's got his own podcast here, this John Burke dude. See, he's
John
like
Burke.
DeSantis signed that pledge because they said DeSantis endorsed Donald J. Trump. So if you're a team DeSantis,
Yeah, well, Trump doesn't. You don't have to. The king doesn't sign an oath to himself.
What this guy wrote was you should be in support of his endorsement. There's no way to beat around the bush on endorsement. It is what it is. And he responded, this guy, DeSantis signed that pledge. Trump didn't, and neither did we. I'll vote Trump on one condition. Beg. That's right. Beg us for our vote, because guess what? Now you need it more than we need you. You think our disgusting tactics come without repercussions? Your disgusting tactics come without repercussions? So it's just that simple. I want to see MAGA beg for our votes.
Yeah, so you're gonna fuck America in the ass just to be like, eat that, Trump, as we get screwed over as a country. Like,
Yeah, well, I basically told him to shove it up his butt.
No, that is absolute moronic.
Exactly what you just said. And I told him nobody's kneeling or kissing your stinking ring just because you invested effort in supporting a dude who never should have left Florida. It's like, who the hell are you? I don't understand the logic here. So we basically were stupidly supporting a guy who never should have been running in the first place. You want us to come around now? You need to beg. Go to hell. You're a loser and a moron. You're a sucker for buying in on the entire DeSantis thing. You should have bailed out on him when he sucked in the way he handled all of these persecutive prosecutions, and the way he was so wooden and pathetic in his stupid high heels and those stupid debates. And now you're sitting here saying people should beg you. Go to hell. You want to screw America? That's fine. It's not just my America it's screwing, it's yours as well. So that's your classic DeSantis supporter right there. That's your DeSantis supporter. You're a loser. Okay, I'm sorry. Not you.
No, I understand. Also, guys, look, I understand Gallipoli was not entirely Churchill's fault. He took the brunt of it, and to redeem himself, he spent time in the trenches. So Churchill ended up eating the blame. Okay, that's why I was trying to get at. But yeah, no, bowing out now, I just think is. I don't know. That's just it. Yeah, he couldn't cope. He needs a Copenhagen in his life, I guess.
That was everything about his entire. I lost so much respect for him over the last 6 months, where I went from looking at him as like a year ago, I would have said he's easily the heir apparent to Trump, and now I'm at a place where I'm like, no way will I ever support him for president.
Oh no, I agree. It's going to be weird for him. What's he going to do? 2028 is a long way away, number one, but number two, what's like, there's going to be other people in that time. I'm not saying like Don Jr., but there's going to be other people. Yeah. Someone else is going to take the banner, and it's not going to be.
You don't trust Vivek.
No. He can. You know what? If Vivek wants my trust, run through the streets of DC like a man on fire for the next 4 years. Be Trump's hatchet man, and then we'll talk.
Okay.
Vivek needs to run around with the laser designator while Trump has like the bomber flying over DC, and Vivek needs to like point it at like the DOJ building, zap it till it gets hit, and then run around doing that, and then you probably get my vote, Vivek.
Who do you want to see for VP?
I don't know. I mean, I don't want it to be DeSantis. Right. I know that much.
Right.
I don't want it to be Kristi Noem. I know people are like, oh, well, I get it. There are people simping for her. I don't, I've heard some people saying like, oh, thank God that's gone away. It's Tulsi Gabbard. That needs to go away. I guess Ben Carson, but Ben Carson's kind of like disappeared off the radar. Maybe that was the best thing for him for a while.
There's
But he hasn't
There's a lot of talk about it being Lee Zeldin.
out of Georgia to try to
No,
get
out of New York. Out of
or New York. Oh, Lee. Oh, sorry, different guy I'm thinking of.
Right. Yeah.
Do you think Trump's going to try to make a play for New York then with that?
I don't know if it's making a plan. I don't know if that's what VPs are about anymore. I don't think
Yeah,
I like when he went with Pence, it wasn't a play for Indiana.
Yeah.
It was a matter of let me seal the Christian conservative vote.
Oh crap! My local's ended because I ended up 3 hours. Sorry, guys.
Oh, no. Well, there you go.
Yeah, so I maxed it out. Man, we do that every once in a while. At potentiallycriminal.locals.com, we do that. You get good content. Like
Check out.
We run the clock out there. So
Speaking of which, fans is asking whether or has there's a few things I need to get to. So fans wants to know whether you're going to be streaming to.
We're doing Rumble on Thursday.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was the first question I got asked. So I also had a couple of others that popped up in locals. So he said in the Texas barbed wire SCOTUS decisions, it's only said Fed can cut barbed wire removing TRO. Does not say Texas can't keep putting it up. That's true. Texas would also have come to claim to charge the Fed for the repairs and replacement costs. It's on Texas land, their property, and takings clause should allow Texas to, I think it means claim all costs of repair. I think that's technically true too.
Sure. And I know people are like, oh my God, they sold us out. It's like, remember, the Supreme Court is the government. The government, it's a branch of government. So generally what happens when you attack, like when you're going up against government, the government sides with the government. You know, it's a TRO right now anyway. It's a preliminary thing. You know,
but
it's
still,
just I get it, but it's just with the gun stuff.
I think he's
Do you
done.
think?
I think Texas is going to lose this case. I think those same five are the reason they would have probably rejected this. You do criminal. Do you do much civil?
I've done enough civil. Yeah. Would it succeed?
You've handled TROs?
A couple. Yeah.
So TROs, you have to establish likelihood of success in the merits. That's likely where these justices found against Texas.
Yeah.
And you had these institutionalists, Kavanaugh and Roberts, who basically are like, oh, yeah, federal government, we have to give them all the support in the world and defer and bow to them if whatever they want.
Well, it was Barrett this time around. Kavanaugh actually.
Sorry, not Kavanaugh. It was Barrett and Robert. It was Barrett and Roberts. And like we have to basically kiss the ring of freaking federal governments because that's what institutionalists do. So, and I think we're going to see them come to that decision ultimately in this case. So you should be prepared for that.
I think so too. You should be prepared for that. But also, I don't see them very rarely, even when it comes to these things like with these like the gun cases, like, and it's clear these violate Bruin in every sense of the word. The Supreme Court's like, no, like let them work their way up through and then we'll deal with them. I mean, and it's clear that they'll crush them. So I just, the government's courts are very reluctant to try, like that TROs are very drastic, like to.
True.
I mean, that's the other thing you have to worry about. And
true. But I mean, once it wins at the district court level and got approved on appeal, you would think that they're not going to be looking at likelihood of success in the merits unless they really hate it. So, so I don't know. I'm very cynical about. I'm lacking any optimism for Texas to succeed in this case.
Oh, I am too. I mean, given how like Arizona got thumped already, and yeah.
Let me get to a couple more of these. So, also in locals, fan says Joe forgot the smiley face to help the autistic tell it was sarcasm. And Pam says, I think it's a first timer out name recognition. People that didn't know him before, they now watch him. That's true. I was only helping Frankie with my review. She also says the election will be controlled, LOL, until spending is limited, say 500 million total. If you can't convene incentives to vote for you after 500 million, if you don't get your message across, I'm done. Oh, I think she's saying there should be like a cap on how much you can be allowed to spend.
Yeah. I mean, I still think you run into issues of that's limiting speech in a way. Because like, who's $500 million? Is it a race? Maybe people want to donate later. And I, as far as, was she saying that DeSantis wasn't as well known? Is that what she was trying to say? Is that who she was referring to?
I don't think so. I think she was just talking in general.
Oh,
so, H Coffee says you can make up for charisma in certain situations like Georgia, Pennsylvania. I see what you're doing there.
Yeah. Clever.
J Rock says 134 checking in, sir. West Tunnel 2 is complete. Sweet. It's about time. It's about time. I've been like, we need Tunnel 2. We need freaking Tunnel 2.
Yeah.
Also, Sweet Tracks should have quoted the frogs. Was I stole your joke from you, Drop Barracuda. Good on the party members for essentially campaigning for Trump while he was tied up in trials.
Yeah, there's that. Yes, they played themselves. To quote the great DJ Khaled.
They really did.
Mhm.
So I think I'm going to wrap this up over here. I think it's time for me to start. It's midnight. It's time for me to start thinking about my bed. So I'm gonna be landing my plane here. But please tell everyone where they can find you and what you're all about, Mr. Potentially Criminal Sean.
All right, thanks. So, well, until this week, I was on YouTube. We'll be back next week.
If
But
my channel, brother, I'm really sorry.
you're gonna be Joe. Joe, I promise you, this is not gonna hurt you. I promise you.
I hope
Okay.
so.
You know, as a you know, you're like a brother to me. Okay. I
Yeah.
won't say brother in Christ, but you're a brother to me. Okay.
Right.
I wouldn't fuck you up like that. I promise. Okay.
So juice.
Hey, but hey, if you got the tunnels going, we can pull some Hamas shit on YouTube now. They won't be able to get you.
Okay.
So, tunnels all over the Nearman plantation. So you can find me on YouTube, Potentially Criminal, Rumble at Potentially Criminal, Twitter, Kick, BitChute. We are going to do a live show every Thursday. Since we can't do it on YouTube this week, we are in Rumble only. So come on over to Rumble. Let's show Mama Susan how much she's going to pay for not having me on there this week and rejecting my appeal.
Bam.
So yeah.
Bam.
Yep. And we'll be back. We'll be back next week. But in the meantime, I'll be there. Also at potentiallycriminal.locals.com. We've got stuff going on there all the time. This week we're still trying to finish up the Michelle Trakunis trial. That's still going. We'll probably stream tomorrow and catch up from today on that one. So,
well, I'm going to send you all on over to my good friend Nick Ricada. I'm going to wrap this up right here. Thank you so much for joining me. Tomorrow, I'm going to try and do a local stream at some point, but I'm not swearing on that one. I'm leaning toward trying to do it, but you would find it. The only way you know that I'm supposed to be 6:30 on Spaces with Mario. I'm probably going to be doing that. I might do a locals as well. Goodlogic.locals.com. That's goodlogic.locals.com. Merch is on its way. So till that happens, the only way you can really stay happy is by eat the bugs. And as always, my friends, I say good night and Godspeed.